So, what if I told you that the world's most effective hacking technique has absolutely nothing to do with cracking code or breaking through firewalls? Today, we're going to talk about social engineering, which is essentially the art and science of hacking the human brain. Yeah, forget about software bugs for a minute. The real vulnerability, the one that matters most, isn't in our code. It's right here, in our heads. See, traditional hacking goes after firewalls and software, but social engineering, it targets our most basic human emotions, our trust, our fear, our psychology. It's not about what your computer knows, it's all about what you feel.
And look, this is not a minor issue. It is the #1 cause of all security breaches. And why is that? Well, honestly, because it's usually way easier to trick a person than it is to outsmart a really sophisticated piece of security software.
So, how do they actually pull it off? It's not just random luck. Not at all. Attackers are following a surprisingly consistent playbook, and it's built on 6 powerful rules of deception, all designed for one single purpose: to get us to act before we have a chance to think. Think of these rules as the attacker's secret weapons. They're like psychological keys that they use to unlock our brains and just completely bypass our normal critical thinking. So let's break down exactly what they are. First up, authority. We are just hardwired from a young age to obey people in positions of power. So when you get a message from someone claiming to be your boss, or maybe from IT support, demanding that you do something, what's your first instinct? It's to comply, not to question it. Next, they love to create urgency. You know the message. Your account has been compromised. Act now. It creates this immediate sense of panic. And when we panic, we just don't think clearly. We react. And that's exactly what they're counting on. Then you've got scarcity. This is a limited time offer. Only 3 spots left. This plays right into our deep-seated fear of missing out, FOMO. We rush to grab what we think is a rare opportunity, and in the process, we just drop our guard completely. Okay, this one's a little more subtle. Reciprocity. The attacker might give you some helpful advice or a small free gift. And now you kind of feel this social obligation to return the favor when they come back with their real request. It's a classic setup. Then comes liking. The attacker seems unbelievably friendly. Maybe they mention you went to the same college or you both love the same sports team. This builds a totally false sense of rapport and trust, which makes you way more likely to help them out. And finally, there's social proof. This is basically peer pressure for grown-ups. The attacker might say something like, "Oh, I just talked to Sarah and Tom from your team, and they already gave me the info. If everyone else is doing it, it must be safe, right?" Wrong. So, those are the psychological tools they have in their arsenal. But how do they actually string them all together to create an attack? Well, it turns out there's a pretty predictable 4-step process that they use over and over again. It all starts with reconnaissance. They're studying you, looking at your LinkedIn, your social media, just gathering details. Then they build trust, using one of those 6 principles we just talked about to create a believable story. The 3rd step is exploitation. This is the big ask, where they manipulate you into clicking a link or giving up a password. And finally, the exit, where they close the conversation so smoothly you have no idea you've just been hacked. And this 4-step cycle can happen literally anywhere. Knowing the psychology is half the battle, for sure. But the other half is knowing where these attacks are actually going to pop up in your daily life. So let's take a look at the modern toolkit they're using right now. We all know about those general phishing emails, right? But the attacks are getting so much more sophisticated. Spear phishing, for example, targets you personally. And the tech is evolving like crazy. Phishing isn't just a phone call anymore. Attackers can now use AI to literally clone the voice of your boss or a family member. It's wild. And Quishing uses malicious QR codes, things we see everywhere now, to send you straight to a fake website. The playbook's the same, but the tools, they are constantly being upgraded. Okay, I know, that all sounds pretty scary. But here's the good news. The best defense against a human problem is a human solution. It's time to build your own human firewall. Seriously, if you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, please make it this. Just slow down. That feeling of urgency we talked about, that is the attacker's biggest weapon, and it's a massive red flag. Taking a simple 5-second pause before you click or reply can be the difference between staying safe and getting totally compromised. If you get a strange request, even if it looks like it's from someone you have to verify it. But don't just reply to the email or the text. That's playing their game. Instead, Pick up the phone and call them on a number you already know is theirs, or go talk to them in person. Always, always use a separate channel to confirm.
All right, this one's a non-negotiable. Use multi-factor authentication on every single one of your important accounts. It is your single best technical defense, period. Even if an attacker somehow steals your password, MFA can stop them cold from actually getting into your account.
Here's a super simple habit that pays off big time. Before you click any link, just hover your mouse over it on a computer. Your screen will show you the real web address it's trying to take you to. Look for those subtle misspellings or weird domains that just don't feel right.
And finally, if something seems way too good to be true, guess what? It absolutely is. That free software download or that free gift card you supposedly won, that's the bait on the hook. Remember, almost nothing in the digital world is truly free. Ultimately, it really all boils down to this. Attackers want you on an emotional roller coaster. They want you either terrified or way too comfortable and trusting. If you feel a really strong emotional push in either direction during an interaction, that is your brain's alarm bell. That's the signal telling you to stop and think critically. So as we wrap this up, just remember that technology alone is never enough to protect you. Your awareness, your skepticism, and your willingness to just pause for a second. That's what makes up your personal human firewall. And that leads me to the final question you should probably ask yourself. What's its weakest link?